Today's recipe is a springy, summery Risoni soup. And in it, we've got some broccolini, some zucchini, some chicken, barbecue chicken, baby spinach, basil pesto, Parmesan Reggiano, the Risoni, and of course some chicken stock. So let's get to it. First thing we're doing is we're going to prepare our vegetables. Now, just before we begin, I just want to tell you why the hell I'm doing a soup in the middle of summer. Well, sometimes you just feel like something yummy and healthy, and soup is often the answer. We've just been overseas to Italy in the winter, which was bloody freezing, but it was awesome because Italy in the winter is less busy, less crowds. You tend to walk a lot. So we were all rugged up and we were walking sometimes 15, 20 Ks a day. Can you believe it? And at the end of 1 week, I added up all my things. I don't know if you guys have got one of these watches, but it tells you how much you walk, and I really love it because then I can boast like I'm doing now. We walked over 100 Ks in a week. Seriously. So at the end of the day, when it's really cold, we'd get back to our Airbnb and I'd make soup, because soup was so good. Soup and pasta, to be honest. Well, this is kind of a little bit of both. So it's got risoni in it, which is a type of pasta. And I think that having a yummy, yummy summery soup is something that you are gonna love as much as me, all righty? So let's start, shall we? Zucchinis. Now I do have zucchinis in my garden, but they're not this big. They're like little. They're little zucchinis. I'm just going to cut these into rounds. Not too thick. You can see, I don't know how thick that is. How thick is that, Tim? I'm shit with a... how many millimeters is that?
Wait for it. Here it comes. Almost there.
Half a centimetre.
So 5 millimeters?
Yeah, about that.
You reckon? Is that right?
Yeah, boy.
Anyway, some of them aren't working out. Growing zucchinis in the summer is just a joy because with zucchinis comes zucchini flowers. Hey, where'd my tray go? I put it over there. Hold on. In describing things to Tim, I forgot my tray. Doop, doop. So, zucchinis onto here. I think I do. The thing I love about zucchinis is zucchini flowers. They're so yum. Maybe I'll do a recipe with those when I've got enough of them. I tend to eat them as soon as they grow. I just love them. The best way to have them is stuffed. You make like a ricotta, cheese, a bit of garlic, pine nuts, and you make that into like a stuffing and you put it inside the flowers. Then you batter the flowers and then you eat them and you fry them and you eat them. You fry them, of course, yeah, you're putting them in batter, just saying. All right, so that's the zucchini. Now I'm going to chop up the broccolini. Actually, that's too many at once. Just remember, I think it's important when you are chopping things up to make sure that you're chopping them up to bite-sized pieces. I hate it when you get a ruddy great mouthful of stuff. You know what I mean? Like if you're eating a salad and you get your fork in and there's a great big bit of lettuce like that. I'm just going to chuck those over there. I'm not going to use those bottom bits. I'm just going to use these sort of top bits. I'm trying to keep the florets. Interesting part, well, one of the interesting parts about this recipe is it uses the rind of Parmesan. So this is a recipe that I got out of a delicious magazine that features these cheese people who are really cool. They have some cool recipes and they're using cheese rind. I don't know about you, but I have heaps of these in my fridge. I keep them and I use them to flavour a whole lot of things. So that's the rind of a Parmesan Reggiano, like a triangle slice of cheese. And so never chuck that out. I know it's waxy, but you watch what happens. I'm going to put it in our soup and it adds all this salty, yummy, cheesy flavour and you just pull it out at the end. You don't actually eat it, but it adds all the flavour.
Nice.
I think I'm got to get onto the chicken. So pulling apart, this is the cheese way. I mean, you can go and roast your own chicken if you want and do that, but I'm all about doing stuff that's quick and easy, and this is simple. So you can just go buy yourself a cooked chook, any supermarket, even get ones on sale, even if they're cold, because you're going to heat it up anyway. And then I just tear it all apart, shred it up in here. And it's the way they cook them in the supermarkets makes it really easy to tear apart. Do you ever worry about cooking chickens? I sometimes do. I always think, oh yeah, that's cooked. You don't want it to cook too long and then you get it out and it's pink inside. That worries me a little bit. Because you can't serve pink chicken. And you'll notice I'm even leaving the skin in there.
The chicken skin is my favorite part of the chicken.
Oh, I know! It's my favourite part of the chicken too. It's terrible, isn't it? So I'm sort of tearing it apart like this. They're quite big chunks. I don't mind that. I might get the scissors into there and give it a bit of a cut up in a second. This is pretty therapeutic, tearing up chickens. I also make my dog food with chickens, like cooked barbecue chickens. And I put it in the food processor with carrots. And she loves it. I don't know where she is today. Where's Teacup? She is too. She's having a snooze. It's that kind of weather. Oh, don't forget these little babies here. These are the little oysters. Don't forget those ever. They're the best part. They live in here. I don't chuck all that out. Do you know what I do with that?
What?
I put it in a pot with water and I make stock.
Oh, that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, because even though it's all cooked, it still has heaps of flavour in there. So cook it up, make it into a stock, shove it in the freezer, and the next time you're making a risotto or a soup, bingo, you've got your stock. Oh, I'll crush up the garlic before I go over. Let's do that. Alrighty, so, you know, this garlic, Grace will be saying, where's the woo? This garlic press is possibly the best garlic press I've ever owned. Do you know where I got it from?
IKEA. I've got the same.
Isn't it the best?
Best thing.
It is. I've paid, in my lifetime, I've paid upwards of $50 for a garlic press, and the damn things break or they don't work properly. And this thing, I reckon, do you remember how much it cost, Tim? It was like, I don't know, $3. Yeah, $4.
Yeah.
$4 at IKEA. And look at it, it's brilliant. So I'm just gonna squish this in. Get in there, you. All right, I'm really just overloading it. Let's see how good it is, huh? Look at that. That is brilliant. There we go. Doesn't have to be too perfect. Alrighty, so we've got our stuff all ready to go over to the stove. So let's go. Okay, we're gonna put the oil in the pot. Well, first we're gonna turn the flame on. I'll let that get a bit happy with itself. I'm going to pour some oil in here. And we're going to fry off the zucchini. Okay, just a little. Doesn't have to be perfect. a lot of zucchini, isn't it? Love zucchini. Yeah. Just when you're frying them in here, I just like to add a bit of salt. Okay, so that's fairly high heat. Okay. And here, and pepper. Un momento. There we are. Just make sure they're all getting a little bit of colour in them. They don't need much. They basically just soften so that when you add them back in later, they're not raw. You just don't want them to be raw when you add them back in later. Okay, I'm going to get these ones out now. Just going to remove them with a slotted spoon. Stick them on this paper. I've got a few more there I'm going to add in, I think. Well, that's probably enough zucchini, to be honest. That was two reasonably sized zucchini. That's probably enough, considering I've only got a pot this size. So I don't want it to be too smoky. So I'm just going to take that off a little bit, off the heat. I'm going to add a little bit more oil. There we go. So let it go a little bit gentle. And we're going to add the garlic. Okay. So in the garlic goes. Ooh, I've got zucchini stuck on the back of my thing. Always remember with garlic, don't let it brown. It goes bitter. All right. Now we're going to add our stock. That's about a cup. I reckon I need a bit more. I'm going to add a bit more. That was 4 cups, 1 litre. And I'm more inclined to do a little bit more, almost 1.5 litres. All right, now I'm going to stick this in. This is our rind. That's going to add a lot of flavour. So I'm going to add 1 cup of risoni. Okay. So now I'm going to do 1 cup of risoni. Look at that. Yummy little pastas. I think the yummiest soup I made in Italy was a vegetable soup with risoni. It was just so good, so filling and warming and yummy. So I do love a little bit of pasta in my soup. Okay, we're going to heat that up. Now to give more flavour to this, we're going to add our chicken. Good. Nice chunky bits of chicken. Yum. Oh look, that chicken skin's for me. All right, so now the risoni can go in. Now with the risoni, especially in a situation like this, you need to make sure you keep stirring so it doesn't stick to the bottom as it cooks. It doesn't take long to cook, but you just need to keep stirring.
Yeah, how long does it take to cook risotto?
Oh, what is it? About 8 minutes?
8 minutes.
There's all these stories about how chicken soup is a cure-all for when you're sick. So to have a good chicken soup when you don't feel well, and pretty much every culture has their own version. When I lived in Indonesia, whenever I got any kind of illness, chicken soup. They had their own version of a chicken soup. I might put the broccolini in now. There you go. It's just one of those healthy, yummy soups that just make you feel $1 million. Bring the heat up a little bit. I'm going to put that zucchini back in now. You can obviously double this recipe if you're feeding a bigger family. I mean, I haven't even used all the ingredients, to be honest. I'm just using some because I used a smaller pot. I should have used a bigger pot.
You know what I like about soups?
What do you like?
When you check in the fridge, next day is even better.
Yeah, next day's even better. When you cook other people's recipes, like I'm doing here, I always find that everything's not always quite right. Like it's never perfect and it doesn't matter. So yeah, I've cooked. I cut up 2 zucchinis as they said, but their zucchinis might have been small or medium sized. I had 2 whopping ones, you know what I mean? So if you do it and you think that looks too much, trust your instincts. You're probably right. And my instincts told me that was way too much zucchini for this amount of stock and this amount of, and this size pot. It would have been too much zucchini, you know, and I wouldn't have been able to stir it. So use your instincts. Once we got a little bit more of a boil, I think our broccolini is well and truly cooked. As we turn off the heat, bear in mind that risoni is still going to be absorbing that liquid and it will swell. Now what we're going to do is stir through the baby spinach. Use as much as you think you need. Even if the recipe calls for a certain amount, I'm going to put a bit more in. It wilts pretty quickly. That is pretty much done for the cooking. Now I'm going to do the last bit, all right, which is scoop it into a bowl and add the cheese and the pesto. And there we have it, that beautiful springy soup with risoni. Yum! Buon appetito! And don't forget to subscribe so you get more recipes. See ya!